What if the biggest comeback story in sports wasn't about skill, but about survival? What if the league that was supposed to rise on the back of its brightest star chose instead to silence her? This is not just the story of Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who set arenas on fire. It is the story of a league, a corporation, and a fan base caught in a storm of politics, marketing, and betrayal. And at the center of it all, one question remains. Did the WNBA just sabotage its own future? For decades, women's basketball struggled for mainstream attention. Legends like Lisa Leslie, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, and Candace Parker carried the torch, breaking records and inspiring millions. But the league still battled low viewership, scarce sponsorships, and constant comparisons to the NBA. Then, in 2024, everything changed. Caitlin Clark wasn't just another rookie, she was a phenomenon. From her record-breaking college career at Iowa to sold-out arenas nationwide, Clark represented something the WNBA hadn't seen in years, a player who could transcend the sport itself. She wasn't just pulling basketball fans, she was pulling families, casual viewers, little girls who never watched a single WNBA game before, and even NBA diehards curious to see if this young woman could live up to the hype. Her debut season smashed attendance record. Merchandise sales skyrocketed. TV ratings doubled, then tripled. And for a brief moment, it seemed like the WNBA had finally found its ticket to the big stage. But behind the glitter of Clark's rise, another game was being played. A political game, a marketing war. And Caitlin Clark, whether she knew it or not, was walking into a trap. If Caitlin Clark was the golden child of basketball's future, Angel Reese was its disruptor. Fierce, outspoken, unapologetic, she became a cultural lightning rod. Where Clark represented sharp shooting, quiet composure, and Midwestern charm, Reese embodied swagger, defiance, and raw emotional fire. The media loved the clash. The WNBA leaned into it. Nike saw an opportunity. But soon, fans began noticing something strange. Despite Clark's record-shattering numbers and undeniable star power, the league seemed more invested in pushing Reese as the face of the future. Sponsorships flowed her way. Highlight reels prioritized her moments. Narratives framed her as the voice of the new era. Some fans applauded it, seeing it as representation, diversity, and personality-driven marketing. Others saw it as a blatant sidelining of the league's most valuable player. The divide was growing, and behind closed doors, corporate decisions were being made that would ignite a storm. Nike is no stranger to building empires on athletes. Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, LeBron James, Tiger Woods. Each one wasn't just a sports figure, they were cultural icons, molded and marketed into legends. Caitlin Clark, by all metrics, should have been next. But insiders began whispering that Nike had other plans. Instead of pouring resources into Clark, Nike leaned heavily into Angel Reese, positioning her as the outspoken, culture-shifting star. Their marketing campaigns pushed narratives of defiance, edge, and personality. Clark, the record breaker, was placed in the background. Fans noticed, and they weren't quiet about it. One viral tweet read, "The WNBA is sitting on the biggest star in decades and choosing to ignore her. This isn't strategy, it's sabotage." The tension reached its breaking point during the playoffs. And when the league made one decision, a decision that would echo across sports, everything unraveled. Caitlin Clark had carried her team on her back. Her performances weren't just impressive, they were historic. Game after game, she pulled in record audiences. Game after game, she proved she was the league's biggest draw. But when it came time for playoff marketing, ESPN and the WNBA made their move. The spotlight wasn't on Clark, it was on Reese. Campaigns highlighted her personality, her defiance, her interviews. The rookie who had broken records, sold out arenas, and put the league on the map was pushed to the sidelines. For fans, it was the ultimate betrayal. Message boards exploded. Hashtags like Boycott WNBA, And justice for Clark trended for days. Fans who had just discovered the league through Clark threatened to walk away for good, and many did. Sponsors panicked. Advertisers questioned their investments. Millions of dollars that were supposed to fuel the league's rise suddenly evaporated in the smoke of controversy. The WNBA had gambled its future, and it looked like it had lost. When the playoff promos rolled out, the reaction was instant and furious. On Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, thousands of comments flooded timelines. It wasn't just mild disappointment, it was outrage. Fans felt betrayed, not just as basketball supporters, but as people who had invested their emotions, their time, and their money into this rising star. One fan wrote, "I never cared about the WNBA until Caitlin Clark. She made me a fan. And now they're treating her like she doesn't matter. I'm done." Another said, "This is like if the NBA ignored Michael Jordan in 1984. Do they even want to grow this league?" The anger wasn't confined to social media. Arena chants grew louder, sometimes even hostile toward the league itself. Jerseys with Clark's name sold out, yet marketing campaigns ignored them. It was as if fans were screaming at the top of their lungs, only for the league to cover its ears. What made it worse was the sharp divide. Some fans accused others of racism, claiming that Clark's supporters were ignoring Reese's accomplishment. Others insisted it wasn't about race at all. It was about business, about ignoring the one player who had clearly moved the needle. The feud spilled into mainstream sports talk shows. Commentators debated endlessly. Was the WNBA promoting equality, or was it shooting itself in the foot? Every discussion ended with the same chilling thought. What happens if Caitlin Clark walks away? The damage wasn't just emotional. It was financial. Before Clark's arrival, the WNBA averaged low television ratings and struggled to attract consistent sponsorships. But with her debut, numbers skyrocketed. Networks bragged about record viewership. Brands scrambled to attach their name to this new phenomenon. Yet, in the heat of controversy, those same sponsors began pulling back. Deals that were supposed to run for years suddenly paused. Marketing budgets were frozen. Nike's gamble wasn't paying off the way it hoped. While Reese had influence, Clark had numbers. Raw, undeniable numbers. By sidelining her, Nike risked alienating the very consumer base that had made stars like Jordan and LeBron household names. For ESPN, the hit was even clearer. Ratings dropped after the playoff snub. The audiences who had tuned in for Clark were tuning out. Advertisers noticed. Some even demanded renegotiations. Millions of dollars that should have fueled the WNBA's rise were now hanging in limbo. To understand the gravity of this mistake, look back at history. In the 1980s, the NBA was struggling. Then came Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan. The league didn't hide them. It built everything around them. The result? Billions in revenue and global recognition. The WNBA had its Jordan moment in Caitlin Clark, and instead of building around her, it sidelined her. That decision may have cost the league not just money, but its one chance at true relevance. Beneath the dollars and ratings lay a deeper battle, one about identity, politics, and culture. To some, Clark represented the traditional appeal of sports: quiet excellence, generational talent, and a humble star who let her game speak louder than her words. To others, she represented privilege, the golden child given opportunities others had to fight for. Angel Reese, on the other hand, symbolized defiance. She was loud, emotional, unapologetic about her style, and unafraid to call out critics. For many, she represented a new era, one that was about personality, edge, and cultural relevance beyond the court. The league, instead of balancing these narratives, chose a side. And in doing so, it divided its fan base. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about how women's sports should grow. Should it lean into business-first decisions, maximizing profit by elevating its biggest star? Or should it lean into cultural politics, emphasizing diversity, representation, and personality even at the cost of numbers? The WNBA tried to do both. and ended up satisfying no one. The result was chaos. Fans accused the league of favoritism. Commentators accused the league of self-sabotage. And Clark, the player at the center of it all, was left to carry the weight of an entire debate she never asked to be part of. Through all the noise, one thing remained undeniable. Caitlin Clark had changed the game forever. She wasn't just another rookie. She was a movement. Her games drew record attendance. Her jersey sales broke barriers. Little girls across America imitated her moves in driveways, chanting her name as they shot baskets. Clark became more than a player. She became hope that women's basketball could finally stand shoulder to shoulder with men's sports, hope that the next generation wouldn't have to fight for visibility the way past legends did. But that hope was fragile. The question became, how much can one player carry? Could Clark continue to lift a league that seemed determined to hold her down? Could she stay focused on her love of the game while being pulled into battles of politics, identity, and marketing? For many fans, the answer didn't matter. Clark had already secured her place as a legend. The WNBA's future, however, was far less certain. So where does this story leave us? The WNBA had everything it needed. A superstar who could break barriers, unite audiences, and make history. Yet instead of embracing her, the league played politics. Instead of building around her, it gambled on division. Now, the fallout is clear. Fans are walking away. Sponsors are hesitating. Ratings are slipping. And the one player who could have carried the league into the future is being forced to fight battles off the court instead of on it. What does that mean for Caitlin Clark? It means her legacy is secure, whether the league recognizes it or not. But what does it mean for the WNBA? That answer is darker, because if history tells us anything, it's this: leagues that ignore their stars do not survive. The WNBA had its Jordan moment, and in a stunning twist, it may have thrown it away. And so we're left with one haunting question. When the history of women's basketball is written decades from now, will Caitlin Clark be remembered as the savior who lifted the sport, or as the star the league refused to embrace? Only time will tell. This was more than just a season. It was a test of loyalty, of vision, of courage. And as the dust settles, one truth remains: Caitlin Clark gave the WNBA its future. The real question is, will the WNBA ever deserve her,